Alright, so this is a video in the first reading series where I just read a poem by a poet I don't know or know very little about. I picked these fairly randomly. Today's is from the Echo Theo Collective. It's a Echo Theo review, and it's poems by Aaron Brown. I don't know Aaron Brown. Sorry, Aaron. I'm sure there's a little clip. Yeah, okay. There's a little clip about Aaron if you want to read it on this page. But I'm going to look at this one called Always We Begin Again. Like usual, when I begin a poem, I always look at the form, just even if it's a glance. Let's see what it looks like. This looks like a fairly straightforward poem. Complicated machine flowering ceiling, something after the path, so it doesn't look like it's got a rhyming ending. Today, you could wake up and say. So, fairly long lines. They don't look like they're specifically metered, so I'm just going to go with the free verse version. If I looked at it again, maybe I would say something else. This is the first reading, though. I just read it for the sheer joy and love of reading poetry, and if I went back and read it and thought about it, I might have something very different to say. But always, we begin again. Very hopeful. First line. Today, you could wake up and say it doesn't have to be complicated. Life, that is, in the way a forest overtakes the scourge of the machine. So, a nice little introductory line. Today, you could wake up and say it doesn't have to be complicated. The forest just takes over after a machine comes through. It's not a whole lot of questioning there. It's something it does. Eventually, the scar will be covered first by high grasses and flowering weeds, then shoulder-high pines that spine their way to the leaf ceiling. That's a nice little end of a line there, spine their way to the leaf ceiling. So the forest takes over after the machine comes through. In a progression, we know kind of about, environmental progressions or the way things grow back after a fire or a scourge or whatever is a cutting down. This is what's going to happen here, right? Life, you could say, could be like that. So it's this comparison between life and the forest just grows back. Life could be like that if you could tell yourself, if you can recognize that it's going to be like that. A regrowth, something the whole forest seems to agree upon, beginning the moment after the metal teeth carve a wound. So life, you could see it like this. The forest agrees upon it and just starts doing it, starts regrowing. You could see your own life as a similar process, regrowing after a wound. In the forest case, the metal teeth. In our case, probably not a wound. Life could be like that, and love. Yeah, this is what it feels like the poem is going towards, that love. Like a love wound. Love, the way years from now you look down the path the machine took and never know that once this was the way. So, looking back on the forest is overgrown. You might not even realize that that's what happened, that it's grown this way, that the humans have come through and destroyed it. Maybe love would be the same way, so that you can look back through the years and not notice all the scars. You can just keep living like the forest did. This way the humans went, blistering their way, metal teeth dripping sap. So, the teeth dripping sap cutting through the saws, cutting through the trees and destroying things. This might be what it feels like sometimes when like love ends or something like that, or to have be in love. But it actually does end and potentially can regrow in new and potentially better ways. That better ways was something I added. I don't see that in the poem, but it is ultimately a positive poem. Pretty straightforward one. Easy to read, kind of simple language. I don't mean that as a bad thing. It's very easy to go through and kind of enjoy, and it's got this nice message. So a nice poem. I'm interested in reading some more of Aaron Brown's poetry.